started today, and I want to welcome and introduce Piers Wauchope, our first speaker, who's going to welcome us to Margate. Piers.
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Margate. I can't tell you what a privilege it is to be speaking to you today as the local candidate for Thanet North, and an area of the country that we have very high hopes of. I have one very important announcement to make that my life won't be worth living if I don't mention it, and that's this, that Pauline is selling fruitcakes over to the right, and the very best fruitcake in all of Thanet, I'm told, so do pay her a visit. But, Thanet's been a very special place for UKIP. Thanet, of course, used to be an island in that all the shipping from London used to come along the North Kent coast and then do a sharp right or a sharp starboard and head off to France, keeping Thanet to the port. Since then, it's been silted up, and Thanet's joined Kent. But to be separated, as they said on the BBC the other day, Thanet separated from Kent only by about 700 years. But it's been a great Kent as a whole, and the southeast, of course, have been very good for UKIP over the last couple of years. And without going into any great detail, you'll know this, that in the 2010 general election, there was nothing particularly sparkling about UKIP's performance down here or really anywhere else in the country. But in the 2013 county elections, UKIP did very well indeed, and we did very well indeed throughout the country, but in Kent in particular, where we got 17 county councillors elected, which was the highest number in the country. We won absolutely hands down in the European elections last year, and you've heard Nigel refer to a surveyation poll for South Thanet, just a few yards up the road here, that shows the lead that he may well be enjoying amongst the electorate down there. And of course, it's very heartening to us on this side of the dividing line too, because there's nothing particularly different in electoral terms between the two halves of Thanet. So we're hoping for great things here and all along the Kent coast. Why Kent? Perhaps some of you are going to be asking yourselves, and I want to come back to it in a few minutes, but really there is nothing special about Kent in electoral terms, and nothing that can't be achieved here that won't be, with effort of course, achieved throughout the country. So the general election that's coming to us is going to be absolutely fascinating as far as UKIP's concerned, and just as we can feel comfortably that we're going to make a very good show down here and we hope enjoy great success, there's no reason why anyone else, any of you who are standing throughout the rest of the country, won't achieve exactly the same. Now, there are two things I just really wanted to say, but one is the reason for our success down here, which will resonate throughout the country, is simply this, that we have politicians who are not representing us on any of the big issues. And when each of us looks in the newspapers and think, oh, here's more powers going to Europe, more money going to Europe, and ask yourself, is your MP actually representing your views on those topics? And the answer generally is no. They go to Westminster, it seems, and just then be sucked into some sort of almost secret deal that the rest of us are excluded from. It's the same with immigration. Again, a subject that is of great concern, you will find when you knock on people's doors. Maybe it's the first thing they often say. And again, you ask yourself, well, is your MP bringing that up and standing up for you and expressing your views on that? And on the back of that, the big issue for us in Thanet at the moment is to do with planning and housing. And I'm just going to speak of this very briefly because it's a matter that, again, throughout the home counties is so very important to people when they're told, oh, you've got a local plan and you're going to have another 10,000 houses attached to your village and so on. And I just want to get this one point across, which I hope you'll remember, but it's this, is that the Conservative government has driven this. In 2011, they brought in the Localism Act. They got rid of the old regional plans. They said, no, we're going to bring it down to local level. and we're going to have local plans in each of the district councils. And that's a good thing, they said, because then people can actually have some input and some say as to what is going to happen. But at the same time, they then changed the planning rules, and they did it in an extraordinary way. And some of you may remember what was an absolute scandal in late 2011, when the Conservative Party received some £3 million from large property developers, and then set up a panel to form the new planning rules. And the panel that it set up was made up of 4 people. 3 of them were large property developers, and one was a person from the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, to look after the countryside against the 3 big hitters. And they brought out the new national planning policy framework. And that has affected how each council has to look at planning. It's given the green light for big developers to say this area, in effect, needs so many new houses, and we're entitled to develop those houses. And so when in Thanet we had the draft local plan put out the other day, we were told that we were going to have another 12,000 houses built in Thanet, which Thanet, funnily enough, is already the most crowded district in Kent by head of person to square hectare. So from this scandalous beginning, ends up with this deal with property developers that is going to affect us all. And I don't think it's just affecting us in the home counties, where there is this big push for housing to house the London overspill, where London is so overheated because of the great influx of immigration into London. And when we've got a national population growing at some 400,000 a year, well, that was before the figures came out for that were announced yesterday, of the 300,000 new immigrants, the net immigration figures. So there is a massive pressure on all of us, mostly to do with immigration, and it is being used, in effect, to crush local communities under the new weight of housing that the government plans. And I say crush local communities, but of course local communities can complain, but of course local communities only have ad hoc voluntary groups to stand up against the legal departments of the big developers who hope to make a fortune out of the new housing boom, and the councils themselves who are being bribed by the government under the new homes bonus, that if you allow so many homes to be built, we're going to give you so much money. So you're up against the legal departments of the local authorities as well. Well, that's a big issue down here. It'll be a big issue throughout the country. And in our election literature, we mustn't leave it out, because that is one way in which immigration, or one maybe the most obvious way to many people, that immigration is going to affect us all. As far as the election is concerned, I just really wanted to say this. You saw the Survation poll yesterday. You saw what it meant for South Thanet, and that is going to resonate throughout the country in this way. Because where the Conservative vote is coming down, and the UKIP vote's going up, and the Labour vote is coming to UKIP as well, and the Liberal vote is disappearing, it'll happen almost everywhere. And there are some places that perhaps are immune to the charms of UKIP, but for most of the country, that won't be so. And I'm not expecting, I don't believe the polls. I've been knocking on doors for months now to find out what people think, and not just in Thanet either. But I don't believe the polls that we are shown, and particularly those brought out by the big newspapers and by Lord Ashcroft. If you go and speak to people, you will find that we are doing far, far better. And the Survation poll yesterday will do it. I don't see, because I had a look. I'm not a betting man, but people keep shoving betting odds in front of me, and you see what the bookies are offering. And they're offering nothing very attractive, in so much as if you bet on, is it going to be 30 or more or 50 or more UKIP seats? Thank you very much. Yeah, 16 to 1 for 100 plus, which the money's on over there. Is that so? I told. He's always doing this. I told my brother not to follow me here, but he's chasing out. But the point is, and I mean this, having been campaigning for UKIP hard for some 4 years or more, it's never been like this before. I'm not expecting us to win 5 or 6 or even 10 seats. I think that come the middle of May, we'll be looking back and thinking, how on earth did we get into 3 figures? Because that's where we're going. Thank you.